Sir, actually, I still can't understand how that happened, but there was some technical issue due to which my medium for the mains examination got changed from English to Hindi.
Oh.
So, and I got to know this 2 months before my mains examination when I got my DAF. I had to fill in my DAF again. So, at that point, there were two options. Either I could give the examination in Hindi or completely forego my attempt. So I chose to give the examination to the best of my ability. I used my notes, which I had already prepared. I used Google Translate. I used to refer to certain Hindi books. And after that, I missed the interview call by 1 mark.
The video is a proof that even toppers can make mistake while filling up their UPSC forms. So guys, this is a reminder video for you guys to fill up the forms which the UPSC has released for your prelims 2023, and just some precautions that you need to take before filling up the form so that you don't end up making such mistakes in your forms. Now, number one rule here is the date to apply is 21st Feb. So it is coming closer, guys. Make sure you fill up your form as soon as possible. Now, let us look at some of the common mistakes that are made by the students while they are filling up the UPSC form. So, number one rule for filling up your UPSC form, make sure that you go through all the rules and all the instructions that have been provided in the notification. Just don't go and fill up the form, and especially if you're somebody from, say, reserved category and there are certain rules and regulation with respect to it, make sure you go through them. Why am I saying this is because recently 5-6 of my students had connected with me regarding the OBC certificate. So guys, if you go to page 22 of the notification, you will know that there's a paragraph with respect to OBC certificate which needs to be provided, and it talks about that it should be one of the latest based upon an income proof, so that creamy layer and non-creamy layer criteria can be separated, and any certificate which is created on or after 1st of April 2022 will be allowed to be considered in this particular examination. So if you have any certificates which are older than that, make sure you go and make a new one. Otherwise, they will not be accepted by UPSC. So guys, this was part of your notification which had released. So make sure you guys go through the notification properly. And another thing that you need to be careful about while you're filling up the form is the eligibility criteria. Now, eligibility criteria, say with respect to common parameters like nationality and education, is something that all of us usually go through and usually are applicable for. But if you're again somebody from reserved category, make sure that you have proper certificates and you have proper qualification, whatever is required for that criteria. For example, in case of physical condition, that needs to be provided, so that kind of certificate, whatever that is required, make sure you have that on time. The age limits, these kind of criteria is something that you need to look into, right? Another thing that you need to be very, very careful about while filling up the notification is your personal details. Guys, please do not make spelling mistakes. Spelling mistakes of name, address, these kind of things, please avoid doing that. Also, all the communication that UPSC is supposed to do with you, because later on your phone, your email ID becomes very, very important, because when you qualify for mains or when you go for interview, UPSC actually sends out you email regarding, say, the passwords or the registration form or the DAF information. They keep on sending you messages and communication through that. Even the medical certificate, that the medical checkup that happens before the interview, those kind of information is also communicated by UPSC on your email ID. So make sure that these communication details, they are not wrong. Your phone number and email ID is properly filled in, and also your name, address, basically all your personal details. What you can do is, when you fill up the form, make sure 2 people from your house, maybe your father, mother or sibling, go through that form one line by line, so that any kind of mistake, spelling mistake, is something that they can point out. Okay, so make sure your application form is proofread by 2 people at least. um, Next mistake that you need to be very very careful about, and I think the video was actually talking about that also, the regional and the primary language. Now these two can get confusing, and you have a compulsory language in which you have to write one of the paper, and many of you guys choose Hindi. So don't make the mistake of selecting the paper language, like in which you'll write GS 1 2 3. Don't make the mistake of choosing Hindi under that. Be very very careful about when you're filling the languages, because some people might find it easy to write in Hindi, but suddenly if you go wrong on that direction, you are to face a paper which is already so complicated, and you have to go through so much of content for mains, and then suddenly you have to translate everything in Hindi. So that becomes kind of a task. So make sure the languages portion is something that you cross check at least 2-3 times, so that that does not go wrong. The next thing to be very very careful about is the fee submission part. So even if you're not applicable to pay the fee, make sure that that form is also submitted, because unless and until all the parts of the form is not submitted properly, the form is not considered to be submitted to UPSC. So make sure the part 1, part 2, and all any other rest part that is present in your application form, make sure each of them are properly submitted, and then you final submit them. Okay, so make sure that is corrected. Next thing is, again, when you're filling up centers, make sure don't make any kind of mistakes with respect to filling up centers, because again, any kind of mistake, you will have to go and give your paper on that place. Okay, so center is also one more important thing that you need to make sure that you're filling up properly. I told you earlier also ki fill up the form earlier, because the center allocation is primarily based upon your first come first allotment basis. So if you delay the process of applying for these particular centers, obviously there's a chance that you'll be allocated a center which is much more far off. So again, if you've not filled up the form, make sure you start doing that. Don't wait for the last day. 21st February is the date to apply for this particular examination. Make sure you do that. Another thing that is very very important is the photo ID and the signature that you put in the application form. Again, be very very careful. Like, you do have set of instructions with respect to that, like what kind of image is acceptable and what kind of image is not acceptable, right, in the application form also. But again, be very careful in terms of like the visibility should be pretty much clear. There should not be any marks or anything like that, and it's uploaded in the exact format that is being asked by UPSC, like the size dimension and the KB dimension, everything is properly sorted out. Also the signature, it should be properly visible, because you'll be signing the same signature when you'll be going for prelims, mains, and it will be cross checked. So it should be properly formatted in the same format that is provided by the UPSC, and it should be clear. The image should be clear. The photo should not be something that is having a lot of obstruction, so that the face is not clearly visible. So that is also another thing that you need to be very careful. And another mistake that a lot of students they do is, like, they commit mistakes and they keep on applying for multiple forms. Stop doing that. Okay, whatever form you're filling, make sure that you fill that form properly. Don't try to attempt and fill up multiple forms, because that does not make any sense. And yeah, I guess these were the set of instructions that you need to be careful about, because these are some of the common mistakes that students usually make. See, there are other portions also with respect to applying your forms. Earlier we had the hobbies and everything, they had to be filled up at the same time when you're appearing for prelims, but now that has changed. So the basic information that you need to provide here, the optional examination, the centers, the language, make sure you're properly choosing them, because you will not be allowed to change them later on. and especially people who come from reserved category, the forms and everything and the format is actually provided in the notification. Make sure your certificates are applied in that particular format. The OBC certificate, I told you the date. The EWS also is provided in the same page. So page 22, if you're from reserved category, make sure you go through them. That's it, guys. So all the best. Mark it down on your calendar before 21st of February. Don't delay your form filling process to the last day. Again, it's a request. Just it's a weekend, sit down and wrap up your notification and form filling process of UPSC. All the best for prelims, and again, if you have any doubts, if you need any kind of guidance, Civils Daily is always present to provide you with that. We have got our Smash Prelims program right now which is going, and it provides you the right kind of guidance that is needed for prelims. We've got test series, mentorship, sessions, discussion on current affairs, strategy sessions, everything is included in that particular program. So if you have any doubt, let us know through commenting down below. We'll reach out to you, and all the best for your prelims preparation. Thank you so much.